We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Any more time? We're rolling. Hello, Tig.
Hi, Eric.
We are. What are you doing?
I don't know if that's recording.
Who cares?
Well, I must record. We have people who watch this.
I guess those poor sorry people. I am Eric,
And I am Tig.
and we are here with the Nerd Out With Me 90s cast. This is our 120 episode journey where we pretend that we're enthusiastic about talking about things from the 1990s. Each week we advance forward a month in the 90s. We started with January 1990. We are now up to March
1991.
That's right, March 1991. So we got the first year.
Dipped our toe deeper into the 90s.
Exactly. Got that out of the way. So very exciting. And of course you can find us at nerdoutwithme.com and a bunch of other sites. You can listen later to get all the details on that. This week we're going to be talking about a few potentially interesting topics. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
You don't seem very enthusiastic about it.
When I was putting together the notes for March and April of 91, they're pretty
Yeah, you
pretty
said
crap
this was
months.
a shallow. Well, there's a couple big things, but a lot of the months we had a lot. Sometimes we had too much stuff, and
Right.
these 2 months seem almost shallow.
And well, yeah, and plus, some of the stuff isn't exactly fun stuff, but you know, who knows?
It happened in the 90s.
We'll see. So this week we're going to be talking about the story arc Weapon X from Marvel Comics, and for people who don't know, this is considered the seminal Wolverine origin story. It's a big deal. We will also talk about the infamous video of Rodney King being beaten on a highway in Los Angeles, and we will have a special guest later in the show.
Very special.
Who's our special guest?
Uzi guest.
Yeah, an Uzi guest, and who
Jay-Z from the Sewer Dad.
That's right. So we're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. And for our bonus segment for Patreon subscribers, we're going to talk about the classic video game and video game series Lemmings, as well as our sort of some of our favorites from the pre-Windows 95 era of PC gaming, because I don't know that we can fill a whole bonus segment with just Lemmings talk.
Never know. We have a talent.
Yeah, it's not always a very good talent either. So, all right, we'll be back in a moment with some Weapon X. Hi, Tig.
Hi, Eric.
We're back from the segment and the thing from the little break, and now.
Ooh, I feel so much better.
Yeah, yay! In March 1991. Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X debuted in Marvel Comics Presents.
Oh.
Marvel Comics Presents was sort of an anthology comic series where each month there were 3 stories in each comic.
Okay.
But they were shorter pieces. And usually they continued month to month for like a self-contained story arc. So maybe for like 8 months you would get 8 pages at a time, you would get one story.
Okay.
So Weapon X was Barry Windsor Smith is a terrific artist and sometimes writer who was is previously best known for his art on Conan the Barbarian in the 70s.
Oh, that's cool.
He did great art in that Conan comic for Marvel way back when.
That's what he's famous for.
Well, it was
Or
what he
mostly
was.
known for.
It was what he was known for, sort of before this, and still one of the things that he's best known for. But Weapon X was kind of like. It was a game changer. It was mind blowing. Not only was his art just out of this world, it looked like nothing else out there. The guy had this really strange and interesting style. But he kind of because Wolverine at the time, right up until this time, Wolverine's whole thing was like he was mysterious.
Right.
He had a mysterious past, and people didn't really know his where he came from and his origin and that kind of thing.
Yeah, he was mysterious. That's about as much as I know, other than those things that come out and
claws?
he cuts with them like a
Yes.
cat.
It's not like a cat.
Like a
More like a Wolverine.
Right. Wolverines have claws that come out.
Well, I mean, maybe not quite like that.
And
They cut.
Bones made of metal that can't be...
Wolverines don't have that either.
No?
No, he was Wolverine because Wolverines are small,
and,
feisty things that
tough.
That like beat up things bigger than their own
like
size.
Like a honey badger.
Because, sort of. Because Wolverine in the comics, see, Hugh Jackman, and I know the comic geeks went all sorts of crazy when Hugh Jackman got cast in the role for the movies, because Hugh Jackman's like a tall guy. And Wolverine's not tall, he's small.
Right, yeah, I knew that much about him, but did he... They did a good job of making him appear not to be this big guy in the...
Well, no, he was good. He was good in the films. But for the Weapon X story, so Barry Windsor Smith sort of took it to Wolverine's origin, where he's like being experimented on, secret government experiments.
Oh, so he added all that stuff to it.
They were like, some of that stuff was hinted at, but he was the first one to fully flesh it out.
So it was if I'm to... It was kind of the equivalent of Boba Fett, with the like hints of backstory, and then some guy coming in and actually giving him like a full on.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, sort of like that. And the why am I wearing these headphones?
You do this. I was going to tell you, but I wanted to see how long it would.
Yeah, whatever. I'm used to wearing them when I'm in front of the laptop. So yeah, his he kind of did it a little different, because his story, right? They experiment on Logan, who now his name is, I think, James Howlett. So stupid.
So he changed that?
No. The James Howlett thing came in later. Okay. That was in recent years. So, but they have this Logan guy, and they're experimenting on him, and they jack his bones full of adamantium, and he can survive because he's a mutant and he can heal all that stuff. And he's got these claws. In here, they hint that the claws were always part of him. That's where the idea of him having bone claws.
Oh, okay.
Right. But in this story, he busts out. And then most of the story is him, like, just sort of stalking the scientists through the halls of this facility and slaughtering them all. It's sort of like
it all takes place almost inside of a building.
It all takes place just in this one science facility.
Okay.
It's sort of like the Alien movie.
Yeah,
he's the alien. It's a terrific comic, and it's sort of.
Would this be one that I should read, kind of thing? Like, I know every once in a while you'll suggest, because I don't have much. I haven't read many comics, so is this one of the ones that would be interesting to go back and read? Potentially.
I mean, I think it's pretty terrific in that visually it's there's really not much else that's like it out there visually, and the storytelling is very very moody. His writing is it's very compact. He doesn't do a lot of writing. There's not a lot in the way of dialogue and captions and stuff like that. It's really just about sort of Wolverine going nuts and slaughtering scientists and then busting out in the end.
No, I have a quick question. Did he have to get okayed to write these stories? Like, was he allowed to just make up almost what he wanted to a point?
This stuff always has to go through editorial. Like, they had editors and, like,
someone telling them, like, you can't do this.
Right. Yeah. They'll get the okays and or get stuff rejected, and that has always been pretty typical. The comic writers will have an idea for a story and they'll be like, nope, you can't do that, or the editor will say, yeah, you can do that, but you need to change this, and blah blah blah. In this case, Marvel Comics Presents, which, like I said, was sort of an anthology comic, which they don't do too many of anymore, which is a shame. It was really a showcase for experimenting with things. So a lot of times you got sort of stories there that you wouldn't get in other places, or stories about characters who didn't have their own books. In this case, Wolverine did have his own solo comics by this time. This was right when Wolverine was going from being like a popular character, but someone who was part of a team, to like being
his own,
having 80 different solo books and guest starring in every book. And at this point now, Wolverine is like, I don't know if he still is, but just a couple of years ago, he was on like multiple different teams at once. And he had his own books, and he was in the Avengers and the X-Men at the same time, and a bunch of bullshit. Stupid.
But is it fair to say all of the madness kind of can go right back to that?
No, he was.
I mean, I know he was big before it, but I mean, the version that we're familiar with now.
I think Weapon X probably opened up writers to the possibilities of doing really dark stories with the character. I mean, he's always been a somewhat dark character to begin with. His whole idea was like, oh, he could barely contain his rage, and he's a good guy, so he can't kill people even though he really wants to. That sort of thing. But this was like seeing him unleashed, which you saw very few times before. I'm pretty sure there was a Wolverine miniseries written by or drawn by Frank Miller and written by Chris Claremont, who are both two big comic names. And it was a few years before this, where he was going up against ninjas, and it was but that was
ninjas.
Yeah, Wolverine actually has like ninjas in his background and past and stuff. Yeah,
that's an interesting fact.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd thing, but it was a pretty terrific story. I'd say anyone who likes the character, I'd say is that this is essential reading if you like the character. Is it essential comic book reading? Well, it's really great. I love it. I don't know that I don't know that it would be in like the top. Like if I was going to say like these are 10 superhero stories you have to read.
Yeah, out of all of them, it doesn't fall into the.
It's tough to say. Yeah, I don't know
so
that.
Many.
Yeah, and typically with me, It might for me fall on that list, but it's like I said, it's hard to say. I don't necessarily tend to go for the very usual superhero stories. Anyway, I like the ones that kind of break the mold a little bit, and this one does. Like I said, it's sort of almost like a slasher movie.
It's kind of cool.
So yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
And does it still stand out in comparison to all the other Wolverine things up to this point?
Oh, definitely. I think it's one of the best Wolverine stories ever done. I think. To me, it's probably my favorite Wolverine story done, and just for the gorgeous visuals alone, it might still be the best one.
Did the guy who drew it and wrote it, is he still doing stuff?
He still does some stuff. He's not like an active
anymore, because he's probably older now, right? He's got to be.
Yeah, he's in his late 60s.
Okay. Oh, it's not that old. It's not that old.
I think he does a lot of fine art now and painting.
Oh, okay.
Because he's
an artist, like a legit.
Yes, he is an artist.
Right.
I mean, not to say the comic book artists aren't artists, but he goes
into the other like painting on canvas and whatnot.
Yeah, very much so. So we'll be back. Hey!
Ooh, the thing, it looked like a flounder. the wave.
The sound wave.
Yeah.
So, thanks everyone for listening. We of course have been Nerd Out With Me, and for you folks who don't know, you can find us at nerdoutwithme.com and some other places, right?
Nerd Out With Me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
and of course Patreon.
YouTube and Patreon, which is fun.
In all those places, just search for Nerd Out With Me.
And I would sign up for Patreon strictly. If you were going to even just join at the lowest level, I would join strictly for the video of Eric talking about his favorite movie from the BBC.
Oh, the
Jane Austen.
The Jane Austen video.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we do exclusive videos for our Patreon subscribers. We also do a bonus segment or episode every week. Every single week we have a second episode that goes along with what you're listening to right now. And in fact, this week we are going to be talking about in that bonus episode the classic video game Lemmings, as well as DOS games from the pre-Windows 95 era that we enjoy. That actually reminds me of the video game Sim Golf. Actually, one of my all-time favorite video games.
Sim Golf.
Sim Golf. It is. It's actually pretty obvious what it is.
It's a boating game.
It's sort of it merges, and it's literally a merging of these two franchises too, because it's made by these two people, Sid Meier's Civilization,
right,
and Will Wright's Sim City.
Okay.
Merged together to make a golf game.
Why?
Where you design and build golf courses.
Oh, that's cool.
And you manage the golf course, and the golfers come in.
When did that come out?
Oh, it's pretty old. Yeah, it's
that's a cool idea.
It's super addicting, like stupidly addicting.
Huh.
I love that game. And one of the things, when golfers make bad shots, because the golfers talk in that Simlish. Have you ever played The Sims?
my daughter plays, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they don't talk in a language.
It sounds like they're saying stuff, but they're not saying anything.
Exactly. And so in Sim Golf, they talk in this Simlish language. And when they make a bad shot, and you can make them make bad shots by creating really difficult holes and stuff like that, and they'll like curse in ways that you can't understand. It's like freaking and they throw their clubs and they're angry, and it's really great.
I play that.
Honestly, the game's like stupidly addicting.
Huh.
And because it's older, it will run on any system imaginable. I absolutely love the game, and it's a game where, no exaggeration, every 4 to 6 months I'm like, you know what, time to reinstall it and play it. Super fun. I highly recommend it. You do not at all, even remotely, have to be a golf fan to enjoy that game. It's not really as much about the golf. Though it is a fully functional golf game too. You can make your own player and play through your courses.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's a pretty good little, easy to play, but pretty good golf system too. But it's super addictive.
Huh.
Anyway, there's a little tangent that we didn't mean to get onto. Sort of like,
as is tradition.
What was it? I think it was last week or the week before. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago we went onto a Van Halen tangent at the end of an episode.
Sam Hagar or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been Eric this week.
And I was Tig today.
Thank you, folks, for listening. Even you dirtbag, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, we know who you are.
So, bye, y'all.
Watch our screen and local newspapers for all the fine shows coming this way. Show after show will feature the latest hits, the biggest stars for fun-filled, pleasure-packed evenings.